Okay, guys. We just pull you up. Come down. Lovely. Rich, can I borrow you? Just a sec. Cool. Right, we started off with laps exercise, and the whole point is about your bong, really. And as I said, with bong style, we've got three kind of main elements to this. You've got the bong, the turn, and the guard. And there's lots of people, kind of half of you tonight are sort of really lazy guards, and it's vital that you have this kind of switched on, really. The techniques that we did then, we've done the bong style where we've got the sensitivity, forwards and backwards, keeping the elbow up and matching whatever you feel. If it's lost, that you're going to fire out and recover this. We've then moved on to, I'm pushing forwards and there's a little bit of pressure on there. If I move to either side, if I go this side toward the elbow, then you're going to turn to tan. That's right. And if I go to the hand, then we can use this chair pie. Chair means to slide, and you're going to press down and pull in. Brilliant. Can I use this arm? Instead of, when you're doing the, if you're pushing toward the elbow, for instance, as well, don't just turn. Remember, we want to try and get that pressure. If I suddenly let go of that, he's kind of falling forwards anyway. So I'm going to punch my elbow into center, I'm going to flick the wrist, and I'm going to turn. So if there's push in here, push, then it's very easy to turn and create that opening. If he's pushing toward the hand, same thing. I'm going to let the hand pull in quickly. I'm going to turn with the elbow and the stance. Then you can turn and redirect this. This is kind of on a defensive attitude, really, with this. So if he's pushing against me on the bong each time, if someone's pushing, if they're pushing to a particular side, then with this we should be able to feel that. So he's pushed toward my elbow there, so I'm going to roll across. So wherever this feels like he's pushing, I can move toward it. We can use this on the attack as well. We can do this as a little bit of a trick. So while I'm rolling here, I'm going to strike with my elbow. I'm going to try and actually put this elbow strike in. So the more I can get him to try and resist that against the push, I can then turn to Tansao to open up. You know, or if I do it on the other side. So I'm going to move in with the elbow, I'm moving in with that elbow, I'm moving, and then I'm going to turn. So I'm giving him the position, I'm moving toward it, he's bracing for impact, and then I'm going to turn. Likewise, while we're rolling, I might kind of just hit a faxow. So I might just strike with the faxow there. I'm pushing in from the side. So when I'm pushing in and he's pushing back, I can then change that angle. So again, we get this kind of feel. So this is a way of kind of corrupting this for yourself. I'm going to push to one side or the other, and when I feel that resistance, because the exercise that we've done basically is me just sitting here and waiting for him to push to either side. Now if he's not doing that, I'm going to make him go to either side. I'm going to do that by sending him across or sending him across. And whichever way he goes to resist, I'll then change. Whichever way I get the resist, I'll then change. So this is a nice simple way of opening somebody's positions, opening somebody's guard. And that's the other thing, the guard. So these lazy guards that we get, there's kind of there's a time being used in this. Trying to think who I can use. Like there's a. You started off. What was it? 1,000 punches start of class. 500. Lazy git. So 500 punches going forwards is also 500 guards coming back. You know, we've got to have that awareness of it. So you know, maybe we can change that. Instead of doing punches, think of coming back as a guard, and do these in threes, coming back to your guard in threes. You know, really giving that like super height awareness and, you know, really a great deal of intensity. Because if we're playing Chi Sao and we're moving about and a hand is relaxed and it's taking time to get back, that got back after this one had gone out. And it's in transit. We're always in danger when we're in transit. And when we're changing, that's when you're vulnerable. When we're changing the hand, you know, there's vulnerabilities here. So obviously don't let me get in with this. So we move, and that's taking a long time to come back. It's okay because you've got extra awareness on this hand through that little momentary transition. If I'm... We find ourselves kind of... If you have a bad guard, a lazy guard, you then end up... We had a similar thing on this, didn't we, earlier? Yeah. You have a lazy guard, you then have to lift that. You take time to lift. And that can morph into your techniques. So if you, let's say you get rid of that arm, and you've got a relaxed hand, whatever, and you give me a punch, quick. Okay, go for here. Okay, but don't, like there, how you did it was like gradually walking up. So you punch, again. Can anyone see him chambering that? Because you see him chambering it. He's kind of cocking his, yeah. You see in his shoulder, yeah. And this is the thing, it's because when we have like a bad guard, this is taking time, you're kind of having to lift this to get to that position. That punch, he's having to change to get to that position before you can go forwards. It's a little bit like, if we think Pax House, someone's got a really perfect centered guard where all, so we'll have a guard, all our hands are all in one line. This is actually not good at all, because it means for me to pack, I've got to come out and round. So I get used to this outward trajectory before I come back in. Even if I relax my guard, so then I get to this halfway point, what's happening is that hand, a lot of people, instead of just going for the pack, they'll still move it out before it goes forwards, because they've got used to this action before this action. So even if I'm here, they're not going straight into this, boom, straight in. They're kind of doing this little cocking mechanism. So not telegraphing goes all the way back to when we have like Bong Lap Faxao and it's blocked, and then from here, hitting. So when I hit you, I shouldn't move anything. I don't want to turn with this. If I turn, the worst thing I could do from here is to lap and punch, because I'll pull that arm into the strike. So I'm pulling that into the way. If I turn, as I turn, I'm encouraging this hand across to block. So when I hit, I just want to hit. So you shouldn't feel anything. No. You know, when we get to a position here, for instance, if I want to hit, it should be very difficult for you to defend, because I'm going to hit from my elbow. So this is just going straight forwards. So again, when I hit, I'm not going to turn my hand, because he's going to react to that movement first. You know, if I want to hit, I need to make sure that my technique is direct, just goes straight. So this is really easy to do then. So any technique that I come in with, I don't want to, because that's it. As soon as I let go, that's what he's feeling for. I've got a hand here, for instance. If I let go, he might feel that. So what I'll end up doing is giving a little added pressure on this, my right arm, so momentarily it doesn't feel like I've let go. You know, and it's like that Indiana Jones thing, you know, with a bag of sand when he swaps it for the head thing. So remember I said before as well, there is no technique. There's no singular technique. What I'm not going to do is get to here and then go for the hit, because he'll feel that. You know, I might get a little bit of pressure first. So now he's pushing back. Now I know that he's committed to a direction. So the likelihood of him defending that is now a lot more difficult. If I feel that he's kind of aware, so you mustn't ever let me hit on this. You know, you're not being a patsy or anything. So again, I'll get a little spring, and that allows me to hit him. If I do feel like he's going to defend it, then I might go bigger and let him defend it, because now he's opened up something else massively, because you put so much thought into that technique. You know, so we need to make all our techniques really small. People sometimes watch, if I'm rolling with Yip Chun, and people say, well, why don't you just hit him? You know, obviously, well, you could do that. He's 95. You know, pick him up and chuck him about, couldn't you, obviously? But it's not about that. When you play really light and gentle, you feel these tiny little, you know, like discrepancies. If there's a tiniest little imperfection, like I can feel here that you're pushing with your wrist. This one is switched off mentally, so I could just hit. But my sort of feel on this is I don't want to, because there is no singular technique. There's going to be lots that I'm going to do toward it. I might kind of push with this. So I'm pushing with my right hand in a way that's going to accelerate him up and open this up. I'm also going to press that one out. I'm also going to sidestep. So I'm going to guarantee that when I get the technique in, or rather, I'm going to guarantee I'm getting the technique in, because I'm taking every little bit that you've got away. You know, it's a little bit like that, you know, it's not enough that I win, it's that you've got to lose. Do you know, so that...
Feels that way.
Yeah, you know, so yeah, so any technique that we do, we need to make sure that we're centered, we're balanced. You're not really, so the resistance you've got on there is silly. Let go. Yeah, because why am I pushing down? All these techniques, and when people do locks and traps and things like that, they only work because people are resisting. So strong, So you're pushing here, I can feel him pushing, his toes are curled and everything, move away, just walk off. So I wasn't doing anything. I've kind of got into a position there where I give a little bit of push, and now I'm just sort of effectively like leaning on you, strong if you can. So I'm sort of just leaning on you there, and that's what you're pushing against. So I'm going to let him burn himself out while he's pushing. You walk away, and I'm not actually pushing at all. So the little tricks and things that we play as a way of me burning you out, making you overcommit and do all these silly little actions. But all these things come down to some really simple basics. In Chi Sao, 3 points. It's the first one. Yeah, whenever you're rolling, make sure the elbow is highest and lowest position. If that is not the case, nothing's going to work. Think of it a little bit like filling a barrel of water, and when that's full, it's going to go over to the next one. That'll fill, it'll go over to the next one. So this is rule number 1, that's got to be there. Second rule, yeah, any pressure, any force, resistance comes from the base of the forearms. And the third one, keep the hands relaxed until it's time to not be relaxed. If we're thinking about hands and there's tension in our hands, there's lots of mistakes to go on. So make sure initially the key point is the elbow position. Then any resistance comes from a little bit further down the arm, and keep the hands relaxed until it's not time to relax. From here, for instance, let's say that if you hit from there, yeah, it's not going to get in, is it?
No.
No, exactly. So again, like the technique might appear that he just punches, poof, but he doesn't. What he's going to have to do from here is steal. Yeah, so you can turn with the elbow, that's right. And then you could sidestep, and you could palm, or punch, or whatever. Yeah, but even that wouldn't be good enough, because you know I'm going to block it.
Which that's quite slow.
Of course, but you could push first. So if he starts pushing, and with the hand as well, and then this time, let the whole thing switch off. So push, pushing me over, and then let it all switch off, and sidestep, and collapse that. You know, so it's a little bit like if I just try and pull you down here, so you could resist maybe, you know, or bong or anything, or whatever you feel. So from here, difficult to pull him down. But if I get some kind of push first, I also get some flow, I also get some movement. So I've got everything going for me at that point. I'm going to get him pushing, I'm going to get him resisting. You're always in danger when you're in transit. He's got 1 foot off the ground, and then I'm going to pull him down. And even then, we talked about laps before. You know, you need to make sure that when you do your lap, that the lap is going the right trajectory. If he's pushing forwards, I don't want to lap to the side, because the mass is still coming forwards and he'll drop on me. So it needs to be like an aeroplane landing. It's got to be smooth. So when I get to this position, whatever it is I'm pushing, it's got to be smooth. So then you can do whatever it is that you want to do. And you control the lap as well, of course. So we don't want to, there's no point doing a short lap or a big lap if I just want to punch. You know, if it's only here, it's short, boom, short and sharp. So boom, short and sharp, that's it. If I need more, I'm going to pull more. And again, on that one, just a little point as well while we're on it, because feet, we haven't talked about tonight, he can resist on this one. You know, but if I lap and punch, so he's going to block that, then this one is much more difficult for him to defend, because it's going through the weakness of his stance. And also, pack punch and then follow with lat fac sao. Excellent, good, again. Boom, again. Sweet. So the most important thing is that you do the pack punch. And I knew you were going to do that. So that's the idea, that you pack punch. If it's stopped, then we deal with it in whatever we've just discussed. But the only reason for the follow-up is because your first pack wasn't good enough in the first place. But sometimes it can be not good enough in the first place because we're telegraphing. We're not just going forwards. We're not driving from the elbow and keeping this really simplistic. You know, we're not moving the body with such a lunge before we react. Keep it short and simple. So that's what we're after. And that starts in your drills. So when we're doing laps exercise, this is an opportunity to know that when it's a backhand, it's a guard. And it's always a guard. It's a correct guard as well. It's not lazy. It's not switched off, because that will poison the other techniques. So, yeah, don't know what I wanted to share with you then. Kind of went off on one. But yeah, so what we looked at tonight then is, if someone pushes on the bong, you can resist, because rule number 1, the elbow's high. The resistance is from the base of the forearm, and the hand is relaxed. If I move to either way, then we can move according, so that's fine. If someone's not going to push to the side, then you can create this yourself by either striking with the fax out, so I'll push toward that side and then switch, beautiful, or strike with an elbow, so I push to that side and then just as you're about to do it, yeah, not so good that one because the elbow didn't go high, I wasn't convinced. So it's got to think high and then don't do it. There you go. So think high, and it's a strange thing this as well about thinking high. When we use the dummy, not you of course, when we use a dummy and we get to here, we need to think of what we're trying to do. We're trying to hit that target. So we're thinking high, even though it's been intercepted. So we need to make sure that we are, and balance as well. This principle of being balanced is the same in that section as well. We look at section 1 and 2, we move around, and we get to this point where we have both hands level. The reason for this is because your shoulders have got to be level, so we can gum and palm on either side if we wish. So if we're drilling this, we're moving around together. So I can use either hand. Drilling this, moving around, and together. So application of this would be, if we roll in, breaks one arm, gets into here, and then I'm stopped at this point, trapping the foot. Now for here, if he punches, then I can gum and strike. If he elbows, here I can gum and strike. So that's what this position has got to. We've got to this where it's balanced. So I need to kind of not, always stay in the moment, that's the thing. Never try and plan things because it doesn't work then. So I need to be balanced at this point. We did this last week with laps exercise, carry on please, where at this point there's going to be a strike. Like that guard is a little bit relaxed, which means you can defend that way but not so much the other way. So we need to make sure this guard is centered so we can use that either way. So everything's about balance, keeping it nice and balanced. Thanks for listening to that. We'll get back into Chi Sao, and I just want you to try and corrupt this a little bit more. So while we're rolling, think of where this Ding Sao, this high Fok Sao, vertical bridge on arm, think of where this is. Give a little bit of push. If someone's just there relaxed, give a little push just to get things going. Give a push, and then when you give that push, see if you can redirect it. See if you can redirect it. Be careful as well. Again, it's balance. Everything's balance, balance, balance. What I don't want to do is push and then him pull me down and get hit. So never do anything you can't recover from. That's the key thing as well. And there's never the technique, because you can get an absolutely flawless technique. You think this is amazing, and then you just look at it on a slightly different angle and think, oh yeah, it doesn't work that. So that's the beauty of Chi Sao, isn't it? Okay, cheers guys. Any questions? Lovely. Partner up, and away you go. Cheers, thank you.